Hello everyone. Welcome back to this channel once again. In this video session, I'll discuss SQL Stored procedure to sync identity column in IBM DB2 AS400. Basically, if you look at my channel, so you'll notice that I have already created a video on how to resync or sync identity columns in data tables in IBM DB2. So basically, here in this video, which is created uh, yesterday. That contains the SQL queries. So there I demo using the SQL queries on the STL that can also be done through the ACS. And now I'm using those SQL queries in my stored procedure to create that stored procedure, and that the stored procedure in itself a single unit that will do this thing for us. So let me move on to the green screen so that I can demo you things. So first of all, let me have some brief about the syncing identity column. So here you can see I have one example where I have a DDL table. Let's say DDL 80. Okay. So let's insert some few records into this. So this is default because this is an identity column generated always. This is just one and one. Let's see what was inserted. So the ID call is 1. So if I do insert one more record, let's say this and this. So this time you notice that it will be incremented by 1 and 2 and 3 is assigned to this. So the last assigned identity column value for this table is 3. Let's delete the records. So once I delete the record, all the table is now empty. Now, but the system, the DB2 remembers the last assigned identity column value to the table. So let's insert one row again. Let's say I'm inserting this. So now you see that the assigned value is 4 because the last assigned was 3. That was remembered by DB2. Now I want that this has to, because the table is empty, there is no identity column assigned. So I want this to be start from the starting position value, that is 1. I don't want it to be start from 4 now. So that's why we will resync or sync the identity column in the DB2 table. So let me show you the stored procedure which I created. That's a SQL stored procedure. So here first thing is create or replace procedure and the procedure name. So that's a long name for the procedure, and this is the name which is basically used to call the stored procedure. And this is the input parameters. There's no output parameters for now. If we want, we can have the output parameters for this as well. Let's say the SQL code, the or any other thing which we want to retrieve or return, so that we know that whether this SQL stored procedure has done its part or not. So that's the thing. So now this has two parameters, that is uh, library and table. I took them as varchar 128 both. Now language is SQL for this. Default language is also SQL. If you want, you can use this clause. If you want, you can ignore this. Modify the SQL data. So it will be modifying the SQL data because here I'm going to do some altering onto the table, not deterministic. So the result will not be deterministic and it can be changed on the same input. So the result would not be cast actually. A specific sync ID. So this is the specific name which I am going to do. I'm going to assign this. If I do not assign this or use this clause, the system itself provide a name for this stored procedure, and that's name object will be created in the system. Let me show you. I've already compiled this, um, so the procedure created with this name sync ID. So it won't be created with the long name because the object can have a 10 name in IBM, 10 characters name in IBM. So you can see it's a PGM object and attribute is CLE for this, and program type is main. So basically it's going to create a PGM object. Set option commit star none. So I have provided this value here. I can provide it from run SQL statement as well when I'm going to compile or create this run SQL STM, or inside T4 I can provide it from here as well. But I written it here so that one can forget. If one can forget, the things are intact. So now this is the begin clause of the stored procedure, and at the last, the end clause. So end is terminated with the semicolon and begin is do not. So that's the syntax of writing a stored procedure. Now here you can see I declared some variables and one cursor. So this is the SQL statement of varchar 100,000. This is the SQL code which is integer. This is the identity column of varchar 128, maximum value of an identity column begin, statement varchar 100, and this it's a cursor. So declare max cursor for statement. Now I'll let you know why I declared them. So the first thing is to identify whether the passed table or library, one will pass a library name and table. So the passed value, that is the table and the lib in that library, is either having a identity column or not. So first thing is that. So for that we can use this query. So select name into ID in column. So here you know we do not use colon as we use in the RPG programs where we use the host variable concept. So here it works like this. That's the syntax. So I am getting the name of the identity column in the ID in column name. So that's why I declare this 128 cat varchar from qsys2.sys columns where table name is table and library name or schema name is library, which is passed from the user during its call. And checking and is underscore entity equals to yes. So if any table, if this table has any identity column, we will find this into the identity column variable. And if SQL code is 100, means the record does not found, there is no identity column in the table. Then what we do, signal an SQL state of this. That means table does not have identity column, and we are setting the message underscore text as this relative. So here you can see every time begin does not have the uh, semicolon terminated and end was having. So the same way, if and if is terminated with semicolon. Now so once if it is if the table has having the identity column, then what we'll do, we'll set the SQL statement. So we are basically we are preparing the SQL statement here, which we declared here. So SQL code is just declared here, which we use to check whether there is any identity column in the in the table, and this we also used. Now select case. This is query. Select case when max concat identity column name concat. So we use concat here. We are not using the pipe because that is not recommendable, and whose sky value may differ in different environments, and that can behave absurdly in different environments. So better to use concat. An entity column concat this. So basically max identity column is null. Select case when max identity column is null, then 0, else max identity column. And from end, so case end from the library. So concatenating the library by trimming it because that's a 128 var concat dot concat trim table concat this. So we are putting the double quotes at the start and the end of the table name or the library name or the column name as well. So basically you have seen that this query is selecting the maximum value of the column right now. So if you look at this table, here you see the maximum value for now is 4. So if we resync the data, so what it will do, that is max value is 4. So it will identify the max value and here at the bottom you will see I'm incrementing by 1. So basically it will identify the max value. If I clear this, the max value is nothing right now. So the value is basically in that case is not 0, that is null because we did not find any record. So in that case, identity column value would be null. So that's why we use a case clause. When it is null, then 0, else max, this is whatever the value is. Once we prepare this statement from, so what we'll do, we'll prepare this statement using the SQL statement. So this is the syntax from SQL statement. So once this is prepared, so we already declare the cursor max cursor from state for statement this stmt this. So for stmt this, and this statement is prepared already here. Now what you need to do is to set the max identity value as 0. Okay, and open max cursor. So this was the cursor that was declared earlier. This has been opened, and now we are fetching max cursor into max identity value. So here basically we are fetching the maximum value of the identity column right now. So which is fetched from this. So it would be either 0 from this query or some value, whatever the maximum value that table contains for that column. And then we'll close the cursor. Now what we'll do, we'll reset the SQL statement, whatever we prepared with blanks. Now we will set it again, set SQL statement. Now we have to alter the table. So we'll alter the table concat library, concat table. So library dot table. Then we'll alter the column in that table, alter column ID and call name. So what is the column name? We already retrieved the column name in this ID and call name. So we need to alter this column and restart with whatever value we get. So either, let's say if it was 0, so 0 plus 1 start with the 1, and if it was 4 right now it is 4, so it will start with the 5, and if it is 0 it will start with the 1. And then what we'll do, we'll execute immediate this SQL state and end of the stored procedure. So that's the stored procedure. We can also do some error handling in this. If you want, we can return the SQL state or SQL code or any other messages which you want to return from the stored procedure. So you can take them as the out parameters to this stored procedure. So for now, let's see this demo. So I'll compile this. Just to run SQL statement. So this is the source file, and this is the source member. We can ignore this, or we can write this if we have not written this inside the source member of the stored procedure. So this is the default collection library. So that's a key in the easy class. And this is the most important thing, debug view. So if I set this as star source, we can set this inside the stored procedure as well. But I'm not doing that right now. I'm setting this from here, debug view star source, so that I can debug this stored procedure while running this. Now let's press enter. This this stored procedure is created. If it was not created, we got some error. Let's see. So you can see this is a PGM type object got created. Let's do DSP PGM here. Type of program is ILE, and this is the module, the call activation group, and that's all. Now, let me show you. So we have created this stored procedure, SQL stored procedure basically. Let's see. Select star from qsys2 dot sysproc. So you can check this in this catalog table whether a stored procedure got created. So this is the process schema. Procedure name. So you can see the stored procedure is created and the definition has been inserted inside this catalog. So this is the long name and the short name. So that's an SQL stored procedure, and external name is this. So basically this is going to call this program. Is determine mistake no, modify the SQL data yes. So that's how you can check whether your SQL stored procedure is created or not. Now this is created, we need to debug this. Let's set the breakpoint. Sync ID. So what we'll do, so the current value is 4. If I delete this, now the table is empty. If I try to insert another record, what happened? It starts from 5. Let's do this right now. Okay. Now I want this to be started from first. So let me delete this. Now there's no record. Now first do the syncing of the identity column value in this table. So what I'll do, I'll let's say call this using the call and the stored procedure name. So that's the long name always. Never use the short name. So that can be used to delete a stored procedure because that's a unique name. So one can have a same long name stored procedure in the table, but the short name, the system name was unique to them. Now what I have, if there were no input parameters, then I can call like this, but this has. So first one was the library, so pass that, and the second one was table. So library, let's take F10. Now you notice easy class 1, and the table is agility. Let's come down. So declaring all these things, the cursor is declared. Now it is selecting name from this catalog table where system name is that, where table name is this, and library is this, and is identity yes. So it selected that column name. So ID call is the column which is identity column in this table. SQL code is 0 in this case. It won't go into this inside this. Now it will prepare this treatment. Select case when max ID call is null, then 0, else max ID call end of the case from this basically. So preparing the statement from this SQL statement string, setting this to 0, opening the max cursor because the cursor is already declared using that statement max cursor, and then fetching this into the, so it fetches 0 because the return value was null and we set that as 0 using the case. Now closing the max cursor because our work is complete now, setting this again to back to blank. Now again setting SQL statement alter table this, alter column this, restart with 1. And now execute immediate that SQL statement. So that's complete. Yeah. So if I go and look at the TSP job log, F10 shift F6. So you can see alter table alter completed for table this, in library this. So that's successful, and the call statement complete. Now let's see, this table does not have. Now if I try to insert, because it is restarted with 1, so the identity column value assigned would be 1, not 5. You can see that's how we resynced or synced the identity column, that table. Now let's say pass some other value to this stored procedure 87, let's say. So what happened here, it did not find the record. Okay, there is no identity column, there is no such table, so identity column was not found. So it will signal this SQL state 700 and setting the message this message. So you can see table does not have identity column, return from signal. Resignal or raise error. So you can use signal or resignal or raise error to raise the errors in the in inside the stored procedures. That if you want to go more deeply on the signal, resignal or raise error, I already created a section in my channel. If you see, so there you go into the playlist section. There you can find the stored procedure section separately, and you can learn about the stored procedure thing. Okay. So that's all in this video. I think I explained everything about this. So thank you and have a nice time.